Interesting. Now, I'm also aware that for some years now, there's a conflict going on between the English-speaking side and the French-speaking side. Now, is it okay for
Yes.
me to describe it as a civil war?
No, it's not a civil war. It's
Oh,
it's
okay.
uh, definitely not a civil war. It's definitely not a civil war. Should I say it's more like, and should I say, how do I'm trying to find the right word to use. It's more like a grievance. Should I say more? It's more like a grievance. Anglophones think they are marginalizing a lot of things, so they decided to raise up the point, and before they knew that they took up arms, which is not, should I say, because if you want to compare the fighting spirit of the guys who took up arms against the government, it has no match. So I shouldn't say it's a civil war. It's not yet a civil war, but if it dragged long enough, it's going to be. It's going to be, though there are no signs of that, because actually calm is actually returning. And well, actually, where I am now, I am in an Anglophone region, and today Monday, it it's a routine ghost town everywhere, but things are getting better, which you can see some movement around.
Interesting. How long has
So
this conflict been on?
yeah, this has been since 2016. I'll just give you a rundown of it. It started in 2016. It didn't start as a conflict like this, as you know it. Okay. Now, first of all, Cameroon got independence. The French side got independence first. Then the English side came in, and the question that was asked was, "Are you willing to join? Are you willing to gain independence to join Nigeria?" That was British administered Nigeria, or you want to gain independence by joining the French Republic of Cameroon. So the question was asked, like, since 1961. So there was a system of government, was the federal system, which was put in place, but was abolished under the Ayijo regime. So that's basically the general cause of this conflict. But for the conflict, it has been since 2016. It started just like as a strike action of teachers and lawyers who were expressing grievances on English system being marginalized in the general Cameroon system. And before we knew it, people came in and said they wanted independence now. So that's how it started. It's been since 2016, but the worst years were 2017, 18, and 19. I mean, that was the worst years. Those were the
Hmm,
worst years of it.
interesting. Would you say the government has been able to manage the conflict well, or perhaps the conflict has been able to drag on for so long, perhaps because of government's ineptitude in handling the situation?
Yes, exactly. That's the case. The one thing about the government is they don't want to play. They don't want to play uh, like a negotiator. They call these guys terrorists, so they don't want to have anything to negotiate with them, and they don't want a situation where they will see like the government is being too weak, you know, and too substandard to go down to the level to negotiate with people who have grievances based on you know, uh, marginalization issues. That's what the government is doing. And so what they do is they just militarize the whole place. And their hope is, those who are fighting against them are going to tire out. Maybe their finances are going to tire out with time, are going to wear out with time, and the conflict is going to end. That's the general ideology of it. And even when a grand national dialogue was called, it wasn't like a dialogue; it was just like a monologue. The government just came in and stated what they wanted,
Hmm.
and then that's it. And they called it the grand national dialogue. But when you say dialogue, you have to get people involved, like opposing parties involved in a dialogue, and you hear their opinions and you try to resolve between them. But it wasn't the case. It wasn't the case. So the government is just trying to play like the winner over it. They are trying to impose their winning strategy over it, so they don't appear weak or incapable or something of handling the conflict like that. And even the international community knows, they have been able to make the international community know that it's just an internal grievance in which they are handling. And so you don't have it on coverage like the conflict in Sudan, like the conflict in Yemen, and all the others. So that's what they have been doing.
Most African countries are no stranger to internal conflict. In Nigeria, we certainly have our own fair share of that. I remember we've had conflicts as regards to oil, we've had conflict as regards to resources and what have you. So, I mean, Cameroon, I guess, is not an exception to that. But I want to ask you, in what ways has this conflict affected the economy of Cameroon? I assume it
Oh,
has affected it in some ways.
yes, a lot. Like, I just it's been immense. It's been immense.
Mm,
At the start of this year, the president of the republic actually announced that they were going to stop subsidizing some certain products like petroleum products in Cameroon were being subsidized a lot, and they had to increase a lot of taxes. A lot of taxes. I mean, price hikes in Cameroon have gone up like 20% from what they used to be. And I know it is as a result of the war, which has caused strain on the economy. And so the government is trying to get finances, to cope with their development agendas. And a lot of our development agendas have been held up just because of the crisis. Just a lot of it has been held up because of the crisis of these past years. And so the government is trying to raise money to see how they can keep up, they can, follow their development agenda and, still fund, their fight against the conflict. That's really what has been going on, and it's affected a lot of people. Like I told you, Mondays in every English region is what they call a ghost town, and offices are closed, businesses are closed, just nothing. Just imagine it's a Monday, the beginning of the week, and
mm.
everywhere is closed. Where you're supposed to have businesses turning around, there's nothing. So in Cameroon now, in English Cameroon, we actually have 3 days of weekends. It's funny, right? Yeah, 3 days a
Very.
weekend, and Mondays is the worst. Yeah, no business activity, and what's that's stopping.
I certainly hope that things get better for the English speaking side and for Cameroon in general. But let's talk about
Yeah.
Africa, though. Africa is